In the sweltering midsummer heat of Greenville, Mississippi, under a blinding sun that laid bare the souls of men, Jack Collins squinted and wiped a bead of sweat from his grizzled brow. His dark eyes surveyed the sea of derelict vehicles and rusted machinery that comprised Hanson's junkyard. An ever-growing mountain range of discarded remnants of lives, each piece had a story to tell, of love, of joy, and of despair. Inside his somewhat weathered exterior, Jack carried a heart as expansive as the Mississippi Delta. A childhood trauma had twisted his sense of direction in a life that might have been much simpler. Having wandered and been lost once, the labyrinthine world had left him scarred, yet imbued with a peculiar empathy that guided his dedication to seeking the lost and the forgotten. He sat at the edge of the junkyard in his time-worn Buick, the leather upholstery sticking to his back. The car's hum provided a comforting companion in his solitude. He looked through the Polaroids of the victims, their lifeless eyes mirroring the dread he saw in his own when he stared into the mirror. The phone rang, shattering the afternoon silence. "Jack," came the voice, its southern drawl as thick as molasses. "This ain't like the other cases. There's something different about this one." It was Daniel, an old friend from the police force, who had led him to this bizarre case. "Different how?" Jack asked, already feeling a knot of unease in his stomach. His instinct, honed by years of navigating the treacherous straits of human nature, whispered that his life was about to dive into uncharted depths. Daniel sighed. "Just different. You'll see it when you see it, Jack. You've got the eye for this kind of thing." Jack's brow furrowed deeper, the cryptic call adding another layer of mystery to this peculiar case. Underneath the cobalt expanse of the creeping dusk, he walked through the gaping mouth of the junkyard. Mute sentinels of scrap watched him, their rusted visages illuminated by the dying sun. The eerie silence of the place, broken occasionally by the groaning of old metal, amplified his solitude. Here, among the broken and the discarded, he felt an inexplicable familiarity, a deformed reflection of his own journey. Every shadow seemed to whisper untold stories. He sensed the presence of something ancient, something lurking at the fringe of normality. As he left, the junkyard seemed to breathe out, its silent secrets clawing at the edges of his consciousness. He knew then that the innocence of Greenville was a mere facade. The murmur of an ancient horror had just begun its symphony. As he drove back under the moon's cold gaze, his mind echoed with questions. Who could muster such brutality? What strange connection did these lost lives have to this place of forgotten things? And above all, what was this eerie sensation that gnawed at his soul? The stage was set for a journey into the abyss. He had taken his first steps into the shadows, the ominous whispers of the junkyard his only guide in this nocturnal odyssey. Jack Collins, lost once, and now standing at the threshold of the unknown, steeled himself for what was to come. As the new dawn strewed the sky with a palette of pastels, Jack was far from the solace of sleep. Greenville, Mississippi, lay draped in the morning mist, a veneer of tranquility belying the tumult underneath. His investigation had drawn him to the underbelly of the town, where twilight shadows were more honest than daylight smiles. He had taken the task of sifting through this duality, searching for threads that might lead him through the labyrinth of mysteries. The rumors about an unusual drug had started as faint whispers among hushed conversations in shabby taverns. The story spoke of dreams filled with dread and a spectral voice that echoed from unseen depths. Peculiar symbols and vague fears were spoken of, the same ones he had noticed in the victims' reports. Sammy, a local junkie with more tails than teeth, became an unlikely guide to Jack in this uncharted wilderness. They met at a rundown bar, where Sammy, with his wild hair and twitching hands, was a living testament to the drug's effects. His eyes, clouded with the haze of addiction, were pools of desperation, and yet they held a spark of insight, a feeble flame in the profound darkness. "You ever heard something that ain't there, Jack?" Sammy slurred, his eyes dilated as he clung to his fourth drink. "Something that ain't supposed to be, but it is." Jack nodded, urging him on. "Tell me about the voice, Sammy." Sammy shivered visibly, his gaze sinking into the murky depths of his drink. "Ain't a voice like yours or mine," he began, his voice barely more than a whisper. It's more like a chorus. Yeah, a chorus of shadows, whispers and moans and screams, all woven together. The description struck a chord in Jack's mind, resonating with the dread he had sensed at the junkyard. His gut churned with the realization that there might be more to this case than the tangible terror of death. Greenville's quaint facades had started to crack, revealing the grim visage underneath. The town was entwined in a tapestry of fear, shrouded in an otherworldly whisper that seeped from the junkyard and had its claws in its people through the vile drug. The days blurred into nights, and the nights into terror-filled dreams. The sun no longer held its warmth, and the moon had lost its solace. He knew he was wading deeper into the shadows, yet the pull of the unknown, the unspoken promise of revelation, compelled him onward. As he walked the desolate streets, the whispers grew louder, echoing around him like a maddening chorus. The mystery of the drug, the enigmatic connection to the junkyard, and the chilling echo of the dark deity began to intertwine into a grotesque narrative. Standing on the precipice of the abyss, he knew that to comprehend the depths of this darkness, he would need to descend into it. His resolve solidified as the last rays of the setting sun painted the horizon a bloody red. The abyss awaited his descent, the shadows beckoning him towards a realm where reason withered and horrors bloomed. The spectral voice, which had so far been whispers in the shadows, was on the verge of being heard, and he was ready to listen. Little did he know, his reality was about to shift into a realm of nightmares. The world shrouded in the ethereal glow of twilight was a theater, a silent witness to Jack's desperate plunge into the unfathomable. In the confines of his apartment, he stared at the tiny pill, a fragment of oblivion cradled in his palm. It was an unassuming key to the veiled world, a ticket to the spectral chorus that Sammy had described with dread-laced whispers. His heart pounded a fierce tattoo against his ribcage, a frantic metronome ticking away the seconds. With a steadying breath, he brought the pill to his lips. For a moment, he was a boy again, lost in the woods, gazing into the unknowable darkness. Then, with a grim determination, he swallowed the drug, a bitter resignation lingering on his tongue. The initial wave was subtle, a gentle tug at the edges of his consciousness. Then it surged, a tempestuous flood that raised his reality and erected an alien landscape within his mind. His senses twisted and knotted, vision splintering into a kaleidoscope of distorted shapes and colors, sounds stretching into uncanny echoes. He was a vessel adrift on the sea of cosmic horror, a silent scream in the deafening chorus of the unknown. A presence, older than time and darker than the night, seemed to bloom within him. It wasn't a voice in the traditional sense. It was a symphony of whispers, moans, and screams, a choir of entities echoing from the darkest corners of the universe. Its words were shapeless, and yet they etched indelible truths into the canvas of his mind. Images, more felt than seen, of an alien landscape filled with towering monoliths of twisted metal and junk swept across his mind's eye. Each piece, a relic of the forgotten and the discarded, hummed with an eldritch energy, vibrating in resonance with the dark deity's spectral chorus. Slowly, as if an unseen curtain was drawn, the deity revealed itself. It wasn't a figure or form, but a malignant consciousness that existed in dimensions beyond human understanding. Jack found himself standing before an abyss, teetering on the edge of madness, as he bore witness to the deity's dreadful reality. His revelation painted the antagonists, not as mindless killers, but as followers of the deity. They were lost souls wandering the labyrinth of existential terror, using the mind-altering drug as a torch in their search for meaning, for purpose. Their misguided quest had turned them into conduits, bridging the mortal realm and the horrifying plane of existence of the deity. With the break of dawn, the echoes of the abyss receded, leaving him gasping on the shores of reality. His mind was a shattered mirror, reflecting a universe far more terrifying and incomprehensible than he had ever dared to imagine. Jack Collins, a seeker of truth, had become a bearer of an unspeakable secret. He had tasted the dread that had seeped into Greenville. He had heard the chorus of madness, and he had gazed into the abyss. Now he was poised on the brink, armed with a chilling revelation and an indomitable will. He knew he had to confront the malevolent darkness looming over the town. But as the echoes of the abyss lingered, he was painfully aware that the finale would be a confrontation not just with the external menace, but also the growing horror within himself. As dusk draped its heavy shroud over Greenville, the town seemed to hold its breath, poised on the cusp of a revelation. Jack stood at the mouth of the junkyard, the ground zero of this cosmic horror, his heart pounding a wild dirge. The echo of the chorus still pulsed within his veins, its spectral tendrils threading through his consciousness. Within the twisted labyrinth of discarded relics, he could feel the malignant energy of the dark deity seeping from the marrow of every rusted artifact. As he stepped further into the mouth of madness, the echoes of the abyss resonated louder, forming a dissonant symphony that blurred the boundary between the real and the surreal. Jack saw them then, he cultists, their eyes reflecting the kaleidoscopic insanity that he had tasted. They moved with a spectral grace, their forms shimmering in the dim light, drawn by the invisible strings of the deity's will. Their faces bore the weight of their terrifying enlightenment, the toll of their journey into the abyss of cosmic horror. "I know," Jack said, his voice barely above a whisper, but it pierced the eerie quietude like a death knell. Their eyes met his, the recognition of shared terror mirrored in their gazes. "I've heard the chorus, felt the deity." The confrontation was not a clash of mortal bodies, but a collision of shattered minds and tortured souls. The antagonist, lost and desperate, found in him not an enemy, but a fellow traveler who had dared to navigate the treacherous realm of cosmic horror. As the night unfurled its inky tendrils, the spectral chorus swelled, echoing the undercurrent of dread. Jack stepped forward, the beacon of his determination cutting through the choking darkness. Drawing upon the empathy that had guided him all his life, he reached out to them, not with fists or threats, but with understanding in the shared bond of their horrific revelation. His voice, filled with the haunting melody of the dark chorus, whispered into the heart of the junkyard, reaching out to the victims, the cultists, and the town of Greenville itself. "This ends now," he murmured, his words sowing the seeds of resistance against the deity's hold. As dawn broke, the chorus faded into an echo, the grim dance of the antagonist stilled, and the oppressive veil over Greenville lifted. Jack, the reluctant hero, had pulled them all from the brink of the abyss, using not brute strength, but the quiet power of shared trauma and understanding. The cosmic horror had been confronted, not defeated, for such ancient entities only recede, biding their time in the forgotten corners of reality. The deity's echo lingered, a grim reminder of the existence of realms beyond mortal comprehension. Yet he found solace in the silence that followed the dread-filled symphony, the once daunting labyrinth of the junkyard, now merely a monument of the forgotten. As he walked through the awakening town, he carried with him the echoes of the abyss, a testament to his journey into the heart of cosmic horror. In his resilience, Greenville found a measure of peace, a pause in the relentless march of ancient horrors. The lost boy who once wandered had now become a beacon for those adrift in the darkness, a symbol of resistance against the horrors lurking at the fringe of reality. The tale of Jack Collins was a song of courage sung in the face of the unfathomable, a cosmic horror story etched in the annals of the unknown. His tale was a beacon, a solitary light against the backdrop of the endless, dark universe, its echo resounding in the abyss. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe to our channel, where you can find more similar stories, and click on the bell icon to never miss one. There is plenty more cosmic horror to come from the Eldritch Tales Factory. Stay tuned, and until next time.